Welcome, esteemed listeners, to Soulful Insight, a platform dedicated to revealing profound truths and astonishing insights aimed at enriching and nourishing your soul. Your host, Gigi Gina. Welcome to Soulful Insight Podcast with yours truly, Gigi Gina. And I am so excited because we are finally getting ready to come to an end on this crucial topic, which is Echoes of Absence, the Shadows of Separation, Part 3. That is right. We are now coming to an end. To recap really quick, for all our listeners that are just now tuning in, on part 1 of this crucial topic, I talked about how a female child has been abandoned by a father. On part 2, it was about a male child being abandoned by his mother. And today we will be discussing how a child has been abandoned by both parents. And so I could not leave this topic out because why? I am that product of a female child that has grown up being abandoned by both parents. So if you have not done it already, you should know by now, grab a pen and a pad, your blankie, your favorite drink, because we're going to go ahead and dive right on into this topic. And then we're going to discuss how to help the ones that have not seek help and how to become a better you. Now, if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. When both parents abandon a child, the impact can be even more devastating. The absence of both maternal and paternal can leave a child feeling utterly alone and unworthy of love. This can lead to severe attachment issues and an overwhelming fear of abandonment in all future relationships. And it could be relationships with a spouse, significant other, friends, family, children. This child may develop a pervasive sense of mistrust towards the world, constantly expecting rejection and betrayal. Now, when they become an adult and they start to figure out their life, these individuals might either become overly dependent on their partners, seeking the love and security they miss as children, or they may just avoid relationships altogether to prevent the pain and the potential abandonment. Regardless of this type of parental dynamic, the effects of abandonment can be far-reaching and deeply ingrained. However, with the right support system, such as therapy, supportive relationships, and self-help resources, individuals can work through these issues, building a foundation of self-love and understanding that this type of help can mitigate the long-term effects on childhood abandonment, allowing for a healthier and more fulfilling relationship. Now, I know some of y'all say, did I just hear her correctly? Did she say she was a product of being abandoned by both parents? Yes, I was abandoned by both parents. And I'm just giving you a little background of my history on this issue. And I was abandoned by both parents who were teenagers at the time. I was born when they actually turned 20 years of age. So being young at that particular time, a teenager fresh out of high school, trying to figure out what they're going to do with themselves, what am I going to go to college or what am I going to do, or am I just going to get a full or part-time job? What? So now they just graduated, trying to figure out what's the next step to do. And now they have to deal with, oops, we're pregnant. What are we going to do? During those times and those back in those days, male children would immediately go in the military. That's what most parents would have said that was the best thing to do at that particular time. And unfortunately, my father had that same advice. So he ended up going in the military at 20. My mother ended up going to college. And at that particular time, while she's carrying me, she is trying to figure out life. They did end up getting married before he left for the military. So it ended up being my mother is a single mother. And so some of you probably think, well, she kept you. You know, when that time came, beautiful baby girl born, and now reality has sunken in to both parents. It's time for you to step up. Father didn't step up. So I get sick, go in the hospital, and while one parent is being flown through Red Cross from overseas, the other parent can't be found. It ended up being the next of kin, which was my father's mother, having to take over and now become my parent. Or I will say, or parents. But she was both. She was my mother and my father. When that happened, unfortunately, my name was changed. So I know some of you may say, well, yeah, why do we see Tiffany and then see Gigi and Gina? Well, I'm going to go a little deeper in my story. This is not my topic. But to give you some background, when I was legally adopted, they changed my name. I didn't know that my name was actually changed until probably around about my 30s. I reached out, and me and my maternal mother tried to bond. And so in dealing with her, she basically told me Tiffany was not my actual first name. When I was born, she named me Gina. Doing my research, trying to find, closure within myself. Well, how much is it going to cost to have a name change? Blah, 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 blah. I just said from now on, I would prefer to be called Gina. That was my birth name from my mother, out of respect for her, even though a lot of you saying I wouldn't have done nothing. She abandoned me, The type of heart I have, I understand. I have compassion. We can't take back the years that she's missed, but I can give her that much respect to have people call me the name that I was truly born with. But still give my grandmother the respect and not changing the name that when she adopted me, she had the opportunity to do so because I was still a child, baby. So she had that right. So that's why I let people call me both names. Moving back to the topic, I think I was about 6 or 7. So I don't remember anything before then, but 8 or 9 is when I really start to really remember things. And neither one of my parents was around. My dad would come around, every 3 years, every 4 years. But it was difficult for me because I don't know who you are. His brother was living with my grandmother at times, and he was younger, so he was still like in high school and in college. Father figure I had in my life. So to me, as an infant growing up, that was dad to me. How the way I looked at it until I was old enough to know, no, that's not your dad, that's your uncle. So when my father would come around, he would show up with a new wife and a new child. There was no bond. There was no nothing. But yet you want me to run to you and with open arms. And I'm like, I don't even know who this man is. I don't know you. To me, you're a stranger danger. My mom was not around because she has now, and I know a lot of you was like, man, that's messed up. No, I mean, you got to think they're young. They're probably in their 20s, 22, 23, young. You got to think about when you were young. Man, you ain't thinking about no kid. That your firstborn, you're not thinking about that. So now they're probably 25. They both have now moved on. They both married, have made more children. So I was left behind. Now, when a person searches for a mother or a father figure in their adult relationship, it can be a profound and complex journey, particularly for those who experience abandonment in childhood. Abandonment leaves a deep emotional scars, while often resulting in an intense longing for the nurturance, guidance, and unconditional love that was missing during their formative years. This longing can manifest in the adult relationships as a quest for that elusive parental figure, someone who can fulfill the emotional void left by a parent who was absent either physically or emotionally. Now, in many cases, individual can unsubconsciously seek out partners, friends, or mentors who exhibit the qualities they associated in a parental role. This can include traits such as stability, protection, and nourishing. However, the dynamics can lead to challenges. The expectation placed on a new relationship can be overwhelming and unrealistic, leading to disappointments if the partner or friend cannot fulfill the deep-seated need in the individual, which creates an imbalance in the relationship, where one person is expected to provide a level of care and support that goes beyond the typical adult interaction. Finally, the emotional scars of abandonment can and sometimes will lead to an unresolved anger and resentment. Now, I'm going to say for a while, going right into my late 20s, I was angry. I resented my parent. Why? Especially my father. I'm seeing you often. It may not be every day, it may not be every month, but shoot, every 2 to 3 years, I am seeing you. And how dare you come with another child? How dare you keep leaving me and not bearing your responsibility to me as a parent? So yeah, I resented that. I was angry. No, I didn't lash out. I didn't show my anger. Or there was times when he left, I cried. There was times that I kept saying to myself, why don't they want me? As growing up for years and years and years and years, I cried that same cry every night. Why don't they want me? What did I do? Only thing I did was be born. I didn't ask to come here. So why don't neither one of you want me? But yet, how dare you come with another child? That was the resentment I had towards my father. To my mother, I knew of her. I knew we were located in the same city. And not one time did you come to say, I'm taking my child back. Or you come on occasion to say, I'm going to spend time with you. I'm going to get to know you. You're going to get to know me. I stayed in that city from 0 to 12 years. Now, I resented my siblings. Why? Because y'all are getting what I never got. Regardless if this is my mother is a single mother with her kids, or regardless if my father has married again and again and again, and every time, or his wife bears a child for him, that child that has now created with his wife, this child is experiencing both parents together. So yeah, I resented them for a while. I resented both parents because neither one of you cared enough to come back and get me. And I stayed with my grandmother until I was 18 years of age. I was in a whole nother city at that point. I do give them the credit that both of them showed up for my graduation day. So I really now have to put my feelings aside because this is my day. This is my big moment. I've graduated from high school. So this is now my big moment. I can't think right now about my hurt, my pain, my emotions, my anger, my resentment. I can't think about that right now because this is me. So will I put on a facade? Absolutely. Will I not show my anger? Absolutely. Will I love on my siblings? Absolutely. But deep inside, I'm hurting. Deep inside, I literally want to fold. Deep inside, I want to click my heels and not be here because it did not matter that they were there. I appreciate the fact that they were there, but the one that truly mattered was my grandmother. Because why? I'm not finna trust you all because you finna do what you normally do and what you have done, which is leave again and be gone for how many years? Father, it could be another 5 more years and you come back married again with some more kids. Mom, hey, when, we'll talk whenever, I guess, till what, another 7, 8, 9, 10 more years. So yeah, I had resentment. I had anger built up for years, from 0 to 18. But I did not let that consume who I truly was. That's not me. I'm not gonna let it overtake me to the point I become this angry child walking around and causing destruction. I'm not one of those, because my grandmother did raise me correctly. And so the pain of being abandoned again can manifest towards the abandoned parent, which, if not addressed, can be misdirected at your partners. This unresolved anger can create a toxic environment in relationships, making it difficult for an individual to maintain a healthy or constructive interaction. Yeah, of course, you probably saying, well, Gigi, did you ever resolve your anger? Did you ever address being abandoned? Yeah, I did that. I did that in my late 20s, hitting 30. It was 33 when my grandmother passed. I was 33 years of age. And that's when I decided to then address both parents about being abandoned. Because then in my mind, I did not want to address it while my grandmother was still alive, because I did not want anything or anyone to approach her in a negative way. Whatever was said, nobody's going to really tell the truth. So I didn't want my questions to have their anger directed to her when it's technically their fault. So I waited. So when she passed, I went to one parent first and then I went to the other. Of course, neither one is going to really tell the truth, but I have to go with what has been presented to me at that time from both parents. So yeah, I addressed it. And what they gave me is how I handle that situation. Therapy and self-reflection can be crucial in addressing these deep-seated issues, because it's helping an individual to build healthier and more stable relationships despite their early experience of abandonment. Now, as a woman, as a girl growing up, and now I'm in my adult relationships, the trauma of being abandoned does influence the ability to form a healthy relationship. She may unconsciously seek out partners who reaffirm her feelings of unworthiness or reciprocate the dynamics of her early family life, perpetuating the cycle of an unhealthy relationship. So, yes, it can truly influence the ability of having healthier relationships, because in the past, I have not had healthy relationships and a significant other. They have not been healthy. And that's a whole nother subject. For a male child that has been abandoned by either parent can have a profound and a lasting effect on his adult relationship. Now, one of the most significant impacts is on his ability to trust others. When a parent who is typically a child's primary source of security and affection abandons them, it can instill a deep-seated fear of being deserted again. This mistrust can manifest in the adult relationship as difficulty in forming a close bond, a fear of intimacy, or even pushing partners away to avoid potential heartache. The constant anxiety of being left can lead to either overly clingy behaviors or tendency to keep an emotional distance, both in which can restrain relationships. Now, additionally, the abandonment can affect the male child's self-esteem and self-worth as well. Growing up without the affirmation and the support of a parent can make him feel unworthy of love and attention. This diminishes the self-esteem and can carry on into his adult life, influencing how he can perceive himself in a relationship. He might settle for less than what he deserves, believing he is not worthy of a healthy, fulfilling relationship. He might overcompensate by seeking validation through multiple or unhealthy relationships, hoping to fill the void left by his absent parent. Now, in closing, the absence of a parent can lead to a lifelong search for unconditional love and acceptance in a romantic relationship with their own children, relationship with their family, their friends, and it's often resulting in difficulty trusting partners or trusting others and establishing healthy boundaries. If you're in a relationship and you're having difficulty trusting partners due to the fear of being hurt or rejected again, they may have a hard time trusting others to be there for them in the long term, leading them to be guarded in every romantic relationship. A lot of you don't know what that feels like, to have that constant fear. You're in a relationship with your significant other or your husband, and you give your all. And in the back of your mind, day after day after day after day, you're playing the scenario in your mind is that one day they're going to get up and leave. You're thinking you're doing everything right. You're doing everything possible. And it's still not right. Your husband still leaves you. He still wants a divorce. Your wife still wants a divorce. Your wife still leaves you. So you have that fear in your mind. I'm doing everything right, but they still, it's a strong possibility. They're going to leave me just like they left, like my parents left me, or like my mom left me, or like my father left me. And then that's when, in part one, we talked about generational curses. Because of this effect, and you're not getting the help and support you need, then it comes to where history will repeat itself through your children, to where the fear of you abandoning your children. Again, I'm a product of this. Because why? It happened to my mother. My mother was a product of her being abandoned by both sets of parents. And look what happened. It trickled down to me. So history did repeat itself. So her grandmother raised her. My paternal mother raised me. So her mother and her father was not in her life. And now here I'm born and the same thing has happened. But I believe in God. I believe in breaking generational curses. So I made sure that did not trickle down to me abandoning my children. I made sure that even though the significant others are not in my life, and you're going to stay in your children's life, you're going to be in their faces every day. My son, my oldest, of course, we were married. Me and his father was married, but things change. And there was not one day that went by that my son did not have his father in his life. There's not one day that went by that my son did not have me in his life. And with My daughter wakes up every morning looking at both of her parents. She has her mommy and her daddy every day. And I thank both of the fathers in my children's life because they are awesome dads. They support their children. They're there for their children. So I made sure that generational curse was broken because I personally do not ever want my children and my children's children to go through ever feeling abandoned, feeling alone, because that pain is an unbearable pain. I would rather go through childbirth than go through that pain of being abandoned again. And a lot of women say, ooh, she said, go through childbirth again. Right. Us as women, we know that ain't a pleasant feeling. But I would rather go through that than having to feel the pain of being abandoned. That's a hurt that you would never forget. So that's where it comes when you're in that relationship and you're like, I don't want to go through this hurt again. Because now it's going to be 10 times worse. Why? Because of the fact everything that you've went through in the past, all of that is going to come now to your present. All of the issues that you've had with the abandonment. Now they decide to leave or you just decide to go your own way. That pain comes back. That's why in some relationships, the man or the woman may constantly keep asking the significant other or the spouse, do you love me? Am I doing everything right for you? Are you happy? Or if they see their significant other just sad all the time or something's going wrong, what's going on? Did I do it? Because there is a fear of you going to leave or you're going to do something that is going to cause us to no longer be together. So then that's when we have to sit back. When it gets to that point, we have to make it to where we have to set and maintain a healthy boundary in our relationship. We have to learn how to do that. Because why? Most children learn it through their interaction with their parents. Well, guess what? When you don't have your parents to learn that from, like I said in part 1, heck, I ain't know nothing about boundaries until I'm in my late 30s, going to therapy. And she said, well, you got to set boundaries. I told you I felt like I was in a commercial. Have you ever set boundaries? And I'm like, what did she just say? I literally thought I was in a commercial. I set boundaries. What is that? Because when you're in counseling, you got a lot of stuff going on. So your mind is not thinking clearly. So you're like, boundaries, what? What are you talking about? So when you learn to set boundaries, then a lot of things can prosper for the better. But if you never grow up to the point now you're in your adult life and you don't know anything about setting boundaries, what happens is a child is going to grow up with the difficulty in their own relationship, having difficulties in their own relationship. It can lead to problems such as codependency, people pleasing, and allowing your partner to take advantage of them. Now, being abandoned by both parents, I don't care if you're a man, I don't care if you're a woman. There are going to be an intense range of emotions. They're going to go from sadness to grief because of the loss of the significant relationship in its natural source of sorrow. Then they're going to, like I vouch, you're going to go from anger to resentment, the feeling of being betrayed or injustice. Then you're going to have that fear and insecurity. The doubts of self-worth or future relationship may emerge. Then the loneliness and isolation, having the loss of a companion, can become overwhelming if they walk away from the relationship. They're walking away because they truly don't understand what you're going through. And in part 2, I talked about that. I gave some pointers to the significant others and to the spouses on what abandoned child goes through. But overall, you got to deal with the coping mechanism, and you got to get you some therapy, and you got to get you some spiritual guidance to help overcome all of this of being abandoned. There is no other way you can go around it. You say, well, coping mechanism, Gigi, like what? Therapy is one of the cornerstones of healing. They can provide you with a safe space to process your emotions, develop coping skills, and understand the impact that you have went through of being abandoned. There are support groups out there. Talking to other people that have went through similar experiences, that could truly be incredibly validated as well as supportive. Because now you're not feeling like you're alone. Now you're not feeling like, what's wrong with me? Self-care. You got to start prioritizing your physical and mental well-being through activities like exercises, meditation, reading your Bible, eating healthy can be beneficial. Then start working on your relationship. You got to start by building a healthy relationship. You got to start cultivating strong bonds with supportive friends and partners that can help rebuild trust and create a sense of belonging. You can't be in a relationship with somebody that is toxic and talking about you trying to heal. You can't be in a relationship where they are abusive and talking about you trying to heal. You can't be in a relationship with a narcissist and you trying to heal. You got to find a group of friends that is supportive, that say, well, you know what? You my friend. I really want to understand what you're going through. You in a marriage, you in a relationship. Babe, what's going on? Let's go get some help. Let's see I see how every time somebody mentions about a father or mentions about a mother, and you begin to get so angry. I think we need, I'm gonna go with you. I ain't gonna leave you by yourself. I'm gonna go with you. Those are the type of friends and family support and partners, because they can help rebuild your trust and create a sense of belonging in this world. You don't went so long feeling that you don't belong in this world, and then to get in your adult relationship and you still not feeling like you belong, then you got to educate and build up awareness. You got to start learning about different attachment styles that can impact your childhood trauma and can provide valuable insight. Then out of everything you have done, once you done got spiritual help, once you done saw a therapist, you got your support groups, you got your self-care, you build a healthy relationship, you done educated yourself and you're now aware of what's going on with you, it's time to write down. Start journaling. Express your thoughts, your feelings. Just know the only way to challenge your patterns and lead to growth, you have to do the coping mechanism as well as your therapeutic approaches and seeking a spiritual advisor. Because through these efforts, you can, and trust me when I say this, because I, again, am a product of being abandoned. You can create a fulfilling and an equitable relationship where both your partner can thrive and support each other in a healthier way. This is my time. I hope these 3-part gave a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of women closure. Not even closure, but giving them a start to tackling the things that are happening within them. I've given the spouses, the significant other, helpful tips that they now can be aware of when they're helping them go through healing from this type of toxic situation. Coming from your girl Gigi, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard because, like I say here, we peel the layers off. If you want to heal, you got to take it from me. Your children deserves you of going to get healed. Because you would not be nothing to them if you do not. It's just building a wall, creating a recipe for disaster. Because what you do will trickle down to your children. And if you want to stop the generational curses, you got to start first by looking at the man or the woman in the mirror and say, yes, I was abandoned, but I'm going to get some help. For the sake of my family, for the sake of my children, I'm going to do this. Because they deserve a better you. They deserve a better dad. They deserve a better mom. But if you don't get the help, you are useless to them. It doesn't matter how much you buy. It doesn't matter how much you do physically for them. What is going to count is what have you done and what are you providing for them emotionally and mentally. Now, y'all, that's my time. Again, that is my time. I hate to go. I do appreciate all my listeners that is out there listening, may know someone that is going through these crucial topics and they want to start being their advocate. Most definitely you can. And like I said, I truly appreciate every last one of you that is out there. For the ones that are going through things and these topics are helping and getting you geared to now start the healing process, I appreciate you as well. I would love to hear your feedback from this. From any topic that I have discussed or talked about, hey, I'd like to know your feedback. If you are someone that is going through, how is it helping you, and have you start making that change in your life? You can either find us on any social media site. You can find us on YouTube up under Soulful Insight Podcast, and always at 7 o'clock Central and 8 o'clock Eastern, I will be here, ready to enlighten you on another crucial topic. You guys take care and have a good night.